Hello and welcome to this session about Lisa Business Pro. In this session we're going to go through the processes related to subscription management and project operations enabled by Lisa Business Pro. So we'll start from the quote. We are in the sales area of project operations, and we are in the quotes where I will create a new quote. I will give this quote a name such as DW subscription based contract. I put in Desert Wholesale as my customer. I'll select a price list, and here there's an area which is dedicated to project subscriptions, and it is possible here to select a commercial template. So a commercial template defines some of the important options for the subscription, because it defines whether it is just an open-ended subscription or whether it is bound by a fixed term contract. So in this case, when we apply this template, it means that we are bound by a term of 3 contract cycles, which renews to itself. And just for information purposes, this is more of a financial related field. The billing hosting profile is set to 3 months. The master data for the subscription commercial templates are configured in FinOps and synchronized to project operations for use here. So it is not possible to edit or add data from the project operations customer engagement tab. So here, this field on the quote header, that's just a default, and it automatically defaults on the child quote lines and project subscriptions, but can be overridden or even removed on a line by line basis, or even on a subscription by subscription basis. So now we'll go and create a quote line. Give it a name, I don't know, such as the time and material component, time and material. And as you can see here, the commercial template was automatically inherited from the header, so I can save the record. I can create a quote line detail such as PMO effort and unit price of 100. This standard screen here, that was all standard project operations data. And then there's this project subscriptions, which is linked to Lisa Business Pro, where I can create a new project subscription. Upon creating it, it automatically linked it to the quote and the commercial template. So let's say I give this subscription a name such as managed services, and let's say we use the support product starting from 1st November for 3 months, for a cycle which is 3 months long, quantity $1,000 each. So I can now save this record, and as you can see here, the 3000 is calculated as 1000 times 3 months, because this cycle is 3 months long. And then the contract value is multiplied by another 3, because we have a fixed term of 3 cycles. So you have 3 times 3 cycles, which is 9 months, and the 9 months times $1,000 is a $9,000 contract value for this line. And Please note that here, if I, for example, change my cycle length and save, these update accordingly. Same if I change my quantity or my sales price. You just put it back to 3. Yep. And then I can create a new project subscription linked to the same quote line, and in this case I'm going to remove the template, so I'm no longer bound with a fixed term contract, but it's more of an open-ended subscription. Open-ended subscription. I'll use the same product. Let's see, start on the same day, and let's make it this monthly, and let's make it $5,000. And as you can see, in this case, since we don't have a fixed term contract, the cycle value is equal to the contract value. So the cycle value and contract value are equal. Please note that the first cycle value and the first fixed contract term are rolled up to the quote line. So it's 14,000, which is the 9,000 and 5,000. And same applies also to the quote. You see, so this 14,000 is across all my quote lines and all my project subscriptions. In this case I have only one quote line, and that quote line had 2 project subscriptions. So now we're going to assume we won this quote so that we can continue the demo. Okay, so this is our quote where we started off, and in the contract lines, if I go into my contract line, you can see here the subscription commercial template is copied over from the quote. And if I now need to create a project so that I can start furnishing this contract I just won, so I'll create a new project as you would typically do in standard project operations. So DW subscription contract project. And select the same customer, save the record. It's also important that I create some tasks for my project. So let's create a task here. This could be some sort of generic project services managed task, and I save the record, and this will map over into this activity number here on the FinOps side. So now I can go back to my project contract, which is here. So this is my contract, and I can now link my time and material project with this time and material component of my project contract to this new project we just created here. And it's also important to select the task with which you'd like to link your project subscriptions. So that's why I mentioned before an important step of adding tasks to your project, because those will be mapped to your activity number here on this screen in FO. So in our case we created the project services managed task, and here we have our project selected, so we can save the record. And now if we go to the project subscriptions, we can see here that there are our project subscriptions were copied from the project quote line to this contract line as contract project subscriptions. And if we drill into one of them, you can see now that instead of being linked to a quote, they are linked to the project contract, the project tasks, and again, like before, in this case, the commercial template. And everything else has been brought forward. If we now look at the project subscriptions, we should be able to see these. So you can go now back to your project. It was this DWSC project. You can go to subscription management, and here you can go to the project subscriptions. And as you can see here, the 2 subscriptions are created. You can also go ahead and create more project subscriptions directly here, linked to our project. Maybe during the course of the project you're no longer quoting or handling the contract, but you just want to do subscriptions directly linked to the project. You could just use this screen to create even more subscriptions. As you can see, things are persisted, so there's the commercial template, quantities, the prices, billing, posting profiles, and start and end date. So now the only step could be, optionally you could put in the customer entitlement as well. So with this managed service subscription entitles the customer to some package of hours or roles. Then you could configure them there, but that's the scope of another session within the learning portal. So I won't deep dive into that here. So here you can select the subscriptions, say transfer, and click OK. And you can also do the same thing in batch, even if you want. So now if we go to this customer, in the cockpit here, we see that it created a quarterly subscription for the product we had in the original project quote at the beginning of the video, and then also the monthly one. Also note that the first subscription has a global start and end date and the renewal options, and these are coming through that commercial template where we set a fixed term of 3. So have three renewal cycles, each of which is quarterly, so have 9 months in total. And then I can proceed with the normal way of using Lisa, Business Pro, and the cockpit by running the hard process and firming and posting the actions. That's the topic of another session within the learning portal. So for the scope of this session today, I will stop here. I hope you learned more about our integration capabilities with project operations.